Vivien's erratic behaviour became more unpredictable, and she was diagnosed as suffering from manic depression.
Manic depression is a horrible thing, which is fundamentally that sometimes the person is feeling very high and they can achieve anything and nothing is a problem. And then it sort of comes to a crescendo where they kind of go over the top and behave very badly.
But it was the madness that caused her such shame, because it was such a different person who was this nightmare human being that she had no memory of, that she was so ashamed of when she would become flipped back into the good Vivien, if you would. The first thing she did was say, "Who have I hurt? Who have I embarrassed? Who do I need to write to apologize?" I mean, it's so moving to me. And this happened over and over again, and she did everything in her power to rise above it.
Her condition wasn't helped by her next major role as Blanche Dubois in the Tennessee Williams play A Streetcar Named Desire. It was a professional triumph, but a personal crisis.
A very difficult part for Vivien to play, and a very dangerous part for someone in her manic depressive state to play. Blanche Dubois was a woman not only on the edge of a nervous breakdown, but on the edge of mental annihilation. The play ends with her being led off to a lunatic asylum.
Larry, I believe, did say called it that awful play because he thought it affected Vivien, that it was very destructive for her. Because she was so sensitive, so highly strung herself, she must have sort of really lived it, because it didn't do her much good.
However, she made a great success of it, and was so successful that she was cast for the film version. And that again was a new experience, because every person except Vivien Leigh in the film was a method actor or method actress. They were all drawing upon their emotional states inside themselves to get in touch with the parts. And Vivien feared to some degree to get in touch with the emotional state inside herself, because it contained a degree of mental unbalance.
This is the story of a woman, Blanche Dubois, who wanted so much to stay a lady. A vivid, vibrant, exciting story, because every searching chapter was written by men.
Could it be you and me, Blanche?
What does it cost for a single furs like that?
Why, these are tributes from an admirer of mine.
Well, you must have had a lot of admiration.
Lies! Lies inside and out! All lies!
Never inside! I never lied in my heart.
It was a heartbreaking performance as Blanche Dubois, and I think the film didn't help her. She had a number of terrible breakdowns, but I think Blanche Dubois was her greatest moment, in a way, both on film with Brando and on the stage over here.
The Best Actress is revealed by Ronald Colman, and A Streetcar Desire becomes the first film to win 3 acting awards. By radio in a New York dressing room, Vivien Leigh, with her husband Laurence Olivier, hears...
The winner is Vivien Leigh in A Streetcar Named Desire.
Vivien could hold a screen like few women could, but Blanche was hard to live with. Vivien was ill.
She was crazy while we were making the film, because she couldn't stop partying. And even the weekends, she'd have open house.
Marry me, Mitch.
I don't think I want to marry anymore. Oh, you're not clean enough to bring in a house with mud.
The pressure of the filming was appalling for her. There's no doubt that she was the kind of actress who got engulfed by her roles. There are people who say she never got out of the mood of Blanche.
She had illnesses that she was also coping with, and I was afraid she was doing herself in.
She took it home with her, and that was more than sad, that was tragic.
Vivien's next role in the film Elephant Walk was an even bigger strain for her. Her co-star was her lover, Peter Finch.
When they got to Ceylon, possibly Vivien's exhaustion, her highly nervous state, the return to the kind of sensual climate that she'd known as a child, put her immediately into a manic state in which she proceeded to make quite violent physical love to Peter Finch, disrupted the production. They didn't dare shoot some of the scenes with Vivien in the state she was in. The producer decided that they'd better go back to Hollywood, closed down the production and recast the film. Vivien went with them and had a complete nervous breakdown in Hollywood.
Olivier took Vivien home, and she was given the only treatment then available for her illness, electroconvulsive therapy, ECT.
She had this awful luck of having to needing shock treatments and things, and it was most distressing to see.
I went down to Notley to see her one day, and it was, I never forgot it. It was the saddest sight I've ever seen. She was being looked after by a nurse in a white uniform who never left her side, and she was kneeling on the ground digging, just digging with her fingers, you know. And she knew me only after about half an hour of my being there, but she didn't at first.
Nowadays, she would have the pills, she would have the Betty Ford clinic, she would do the comebacks. She'd be like Liz Taylor, she'd still be working at 80. But in her day, there were no pills, there were no clinics, there were no publicists, there was nobody between Vivien and an outside world which she found chilly, hostile, and sometimes, because of her mental state, could not cope with.
The strain of